I'm Captain Cheapo. So this is, instead of a laser, I use TheraBand. You know, laser lights cost a lot. The TheraBand is like 99 cents. So same thing, it just gives you a visual target try to step towards. Wooden poles too. You can buy walking sticks, and this is kind of a craze lately, not just for Parkinson's, just for senior fitness and fitness in general. You'll see a lot of people purchase these. And I actually just recently, I've been using these wooden sticks for years, and since I was traveling here, I had to have something that folded up. So this is the first time I had one of these. And so they're nice. These cost, I actually bought a pair at Walmart, and it was $10, and it lasted a day. So I went to Sports Authority and bought a little better one. It cost $75 for this pair. And you could spend a lot of money on those. There's some for 150, 200 bucks. But these have worked fine for me, and they're $75. So some people will choose to purchase these. Some people like them because they're less, they're more fitnessy and they're less. Real quickly, I'm going to go just through some simple mobility things, and then we're going to really talk about exercise because there's some exciting stuff going on with exercise research. On bed mobility, this is just an example of how I teach people to get up. Rolling and moving and getting out of bed is sometimes difficult for some people. So I have people start in a hook-lying position where their knees are up and their feet are flat on the bed. And then I have people roll on their side. And then what you do, and you can't, I kind of skipped a picture because I couldn't get it all in here, is you take your legs off the bed first, and it really pulls you up. And so if you're having somebody help you, you can have somebody just stand in front of you, and really you don't need much help at all. Especially, this is one instance where the rigidity kind of helps you out, because once you lower your legs, if you're rigid, your upper trunk just pops up. So this is a easy way to get up, and it's easier on your back. Coming sitting to standing, a lot of people have a really hard time coming from sitting to standing, especially on a low surface. So the couch, a car, the lower the surface, the lower your chole is, below your knees, the harder it's going to be. And the best strategy for this one is, first of all, is just kind of get ready to do the movement. A lot of times people will have this rigidity in their trunk. And what'll help you get up a lot of times when you try to get from sitting to standing, a lot of folks will make multiple attempts to keep on falling back into the chair. And if I had a chair here, I would show you. So a lot of times, this is what I'll see. People try to get up and they keep on falling back into the chair. So the first thing I teach people to do is to sit up as tall as you can. And because if you're sitting up tall, you're already 1/3 of the way there, okay? And then I work on people on just kind of bending forward, and you want to try to get your nose past your toes. Because what's happening when you're falling back in the chair is when you're using your big, strong quad muscles, if your weight or your center of gravity is behind you, it's just you're going to drive it back, and you're going to fall back into the chair. So you want to get your center of gravity in front of your feet, so when you use your quads, you go straight up. So you want to go really, really far forward. And you want to do that at your hips. So you're going to get up nice and tall, you're going to bend at your hips, and then try to stand up. Now, if you still have a hard time, or you're in a car, and this is one thing that people have a lot of complaints about, and I try to help them out with, if you're a spouse or a caregiver or a friend and you're trying to help them, if they get in this position, and they get as far forward as they can, a lot of times all you have to do is keep them forward. Just a little bit of a tug. I'll see a lot of spouses try to actually kind of lift them up, but that's not what they're having trouble with as much. They're having trouble with what position they're in when they use their muscles. Can you come on up? Yeah, we'll kind of demonstrate. Use my loud voice again. You guys can hear me? Okay. So what I'll do is have the person scoot out as much as they can, okay. And then how I help, I don't try to pick them up. What I do is I just keep them forward, and if I keep them forward, most people have enough quad strength. Weakness, you can be deconditioned with Parkinson's, but you don't have your muscles are strong. I mean, you manual muscle test a Parkinson's patient, you're 4 out of 5, you're strong, so that's not your biggest problem. So in that situation, I don't lift. I just keep them forward. So and then, just
pull on his back a little bit.
Yeah, or just, I actually pull on the shoulders.
Pull on the shoulders,
yeah,
okay.
and just keep them forward. If they're forward,
okay.
then when he uses his quad, he'll come straight up. Yeah, yeah, so it's just keep it, and you don't have to do a whole lot of force. And so, pardon me?
Can you show that on the upper level?
Do you mind coming
Sure,
up?
no problem.
Thank you.
So you just keep rolling them forward as much as possible?
Yeah, so the main thing is, it's all about, can you guys see? So all I do is, instead of trying to lift somebody and compromise my back, and what I teach the caregivers to do is just to keep them forward, because that's what they have a hard time with. If you have rigidity in your trunk, it's hard to get forward, or it's hard to get there and stay there while you move. And so, you come up. And so, as a caregiver, all you need to do is help them forward, and they can do the work. You don't have to do the work. So, as a caregiver, you're not exerting yourself, you're not lifting, you're not contorting. You're putting them in a position, in a mechanical advantage, so they can do the activity. Yeah.
What if they're like resistant? If you tell them please lean forward, and they're resistant to going forward because they're falling forward.
Yeah, you got to practice and reassure. Some of it's fear because it's kind of counterintuitive to what I'm telling everybody. This is a bad posture, and most of the time it is. But when you're trying to get up, it's not. And so it's really reinforcement. It's the same thing with the bed mobility thing. That when I first teach it, it's fearful because people are when you're sidelined on the edge of the bed, you think you're going to fall. But as you practice it, really the fear decreases a lot. And then because the fear decreases, you move better because the anxiety makes your symptoms worse. And so it's just a matter of practice and familiarity. And that's the other thing I meant to mention with the tricks. If you have a trick, your anxiety goes down tremendously because you don't have to worry about, you're not as afraid to go out, you're not as afraid to tackle that threshold. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Or, deal with an elevator. And because your fear goes down, you move better. They've done tons of studies on fear and how it affects falls. It's actually, they call it the fifth fall risk is fear. And so these tricks really, really help decrease your anxiety and again, help you move better. Exercise, okay. I'm going to go over a little academia, but it's really cool stuff and it's applicable because we need to have some kind of guidelines of what kind of exercise to do. Can you hear me? Or do you want me to use the mic? Okay, because thank you. So here's just some studies that have been out. And initially, all the studies were, with in the lab with rats, and we're going to talk about some human studies are doing that too. But basically, in rats, they caused Parkinson's and did forced exercise, and forced exercise improved dopamine levels and function. So it helped squeeze or it helped the dopamine be more efficient, in the rat models. Human studies generally indicate that more physical activity is associated with lower risk of Parkinson's. But the results haven't been really definitive yet. So they can't say that for sure, but they speculate that that's what's happening. There was a study called the Honolulu Heart Study where they took like 5,000 Japanese men and followed them over decades. And one of the findings, they were looking at a lot of things, but Webb Ross, again, he's a neurologist and a researcher, was part of the study who also has interest in Parkinson's. He looked at the Parkinson's perspective of it, and the lower midlife physical activity measured at least 12 years prior to the diagnosis associated with higher risk of Parkinson's. What that says is if you're less active in this group, you had a higher risk of getting Parkinson's. Again, that's kind of still somewhat anecdotal, but there's more stuff here.